Filmi recaps presenting Pumpkinhead, story of a father who did everything to bring his son back from death. The movie opens in 1957, where we see a man named Tom Harley holding a shotgun inside his farm cabin with his wife and son, Ed Harley. They all are scared and praying. Then we see a man who is very afraid of something, runs to Tom's cabin, and asks for refuge in Tom's house. The man cries for help, but Tom refuses, and threatens to shoot him if he does not leave, because he is an unknown person and Tom doesn't want to get his family in danger. Then we see that man is attacked by a creature that holds him and kills him. Ed gets out of bed and witnesses the man caught and killed by a monster. The scene shifts to the present, where we see Ed is grown. He has a son named Billy. Ed loves his son more than his life, because his wife is dead, and he is only in his family. Ed has a small store in the country. The scene then cuts to a group of teenage campers, who are on their holidays. One of them is Steve, who shows his friends a guy on the way, and tells them that he killed his wife, and ate her to just get rid of the evidence. Then they are each at Ed's store to take some rest. One of them is Joel, who takes his dirt bike and heads to the mountain, and his brother then also follows him. Then we see a truck with some children come near the store and stop. The truck was driven by a guy named Mr. Wallace, and the children are his grandsons. One of his younger steals a ball from outside, but his elder brother named Bun sees this and takes it away and warns him to not do bad things. Then all children gather around him and scare him by calling Pumpkinhead. Then we see Mr. Wallace goes into the store and asks Ed for his groceries, which he has ordered for delivery. Ed apologizes and tells him that he forgot his groceries at his house, at which Mr. Wallace tells him that he should deliver his groceries before the evening. Ed is now to deliver Mr. Wallace's groceries and tells Billy to stay in the cabin until he is not coming back. Shortly, we see Billy's dog runs outside and he follows the dog. The dog reaches the place where the teens are driving their bikes and Billy follows the dog. A girl named Maggie tries to stop him, but suddenly Joel accidentally hits him with his bike, making him unconscious. All of them are scared to see the boy unconscious. Joel tries to escape from there. Steve tells him that it was just an accident, but Joel was drunk and afraid of the police, so he and his girlfriend leave the place. Maggie is still there with Billy and tells them to call an ambulance. Chris rushes into the store and searches for a phone, but he can't find any phone there. Afterward, Steve tells Maggie and his friends to bring the help, and he will stay with the kid. After some time, Ed reached the store and can't find Billy. He came out of the store and finds his son unconscious. Steve tells him that it was just an accident, but he says nothing and takes him to the hospital. The next day we see Maggie and her friends reached a cabin at their camping site. Maggie finds a phone in the cabin and tries to call for help, but Joel, who is personally responsible for the boy's injury, rips out the phone cord. Maggie is angry at him and wants to go by car to get some medical help. Joel takes away her car keys, also knocks Chris unconscious to stop them from contacting the authorities. On the other hand, Ed brings his unconscious son home and tells a story, but he didn't respond. Ed now understands that his son is gone and starts to cry while holding him in his hands. Then we see Ed going to deliver Mr. Wallace's groceries and take his son's body with him. After delivering his luggage, Ed asks him about an old witch who has magical power. Mr. Wallace tells him that he didn't know about any woman like that. Ed then shows him Billy. First, Mr. Wallace is shocked to see him, and again he tells him nothing. He warns him not to go, because she will send his son to hell, so he should go home and bury his son. Ed is disappointed and is to leave, but Bun stops him and tells him that he knows where the old witch is living. He first demands money for the information. When Ed gives him money, Bun is ready to come with him to show him the place. In the middle of the way, Bun came out of the car and tells Ed to go alone from there. Ed holds his son in his hand and heads to the mountains where the old witch was living. He then reaches an old house and finds the witch. Ed asks her to bring his son back from death. The witch replies that she has not any power to make someone alive. Ed offers her gold, but she says that she cannot wake the dead because she can't control death. It is only in the hands of God. Ed has no option, so he asks her for revenge on his son's killers. The witch agrees to help, but warns him that vengeance comes with a terrible price. Ed agrees and tells her that he will take revenge at any cost. The witch then orders him to bring a corpse by digging from an old graveyard in the mountains. He reaches a forest. There he finds a tall and old grave. He starts to dig and finds a corpse, which brings to the witch. The witch drops some blood from Ed and his son and starts some spells on the corpse. Shortly the corpse rises into a gigantic monster named Pumpkinhead. Now the witch tells Ed that his work will be done, so he should go home. On the way, Ed sees his dead son rises, who tells him what he has done. This was just a vision, and now he feels guilty and thinks about whether he did any mistake. Scene cut to the cabin where we see those friends. Maggie hears a voice whispering her name. She seems hypnotized and follows the voice outside the cabin. Steve follows her and stops her. He then shows her a cross to make her conscious. Suddenly the Pumpkinhead arrives and takes Steve away. On the other side, we see Ed, who was burying Billy, hears the shouting Steve. Now we can see that Ed experiences the murder through the monster's eyes. Maggie runs and came to the cabin and tells her friends about the Pumpkinhead. Hearing this, Jill and Chris leaves to search for Steve, taking their shotguns. They didn't see Steve, but found his shirt in blood and understood that here is something terrible happened. They are very afraid, so they came back to the cabin where their friend, Tracy, suggests them to leave the place quickly. Maggie then replies that she will not leave the place without Steve, and she gets out of the cabin. She finds his dead body hanging from the roof. Pumpkinhead then takes Maggie away from there. Now we see Ed has again the vision of Maggie, who is being tortured by Pumpkinhead. Now he can't see it anymore, so he rushes to the witch and requests her to stop. Witch says that it was your choice to punish them, now I can't do anything to stop the Pumpkinhead. She then tells him that the Pumpkinhead will never stop until it kills all responsible for Billy's death. Ed says that he will stop him, but she warns him that it will also kill him if he going to stop it. Now we see the pumpkin is holding Maggie by her head and pushing her in from the window and killing her. Joe's girlfriend Kim becomes unconscious after seeing her. Now it's Kim's turn, but Joel tries to stop it. Pumpkin hits him away and takes her from there. Now 3 of them come out in her search and find her on a tall tree hanging. Shortly it throws her and kills her. They are shocked to see her. Ed also reached here with a gun. He fires at the pumpkin, but it didn't have any effect on him. The pumpkin then stabs a gun in Joel and kills him. We see a dog that attacks Ed and bites his hand, which also affects the pumpkin. Now we realize that Ed and Pumpkin have a connection. It is the price Ed is going to pay, which is described by the old witch. Afterward, Chris and Tracy came to Mr. Wallace and find Bunt, who tells them about the pumpkin and takes them to a safe place. Bunt tells them that the pumpkin only rises in dark and kills those who did bad things to someone. They understood that they were responsible for Billy's death, which is why Pumpkin is behind them. Both then ask Bunt to show them a car so that they can leave. When they reach the parking area, they see all the vehicles are destroyed by the pumpkin. Then Pumpkin appears and grabs Chris. Seeing this, Bunt and Tracy escaped from the pumpkin. Afterward, Ed finds them and takes them to his house. Here Tracy apologizes to him and tells him that it was an accident, and she tried her best to save Billy, and asks him to stop the pumpkin. The Pumpkinhead then reaches here with Chris and also grabs Bunt. Then Ed tries to kill it, but a garden fork is stabbed in his arm, which also hurts the pumpkin. The Pumpkinhead leaves. Bunt and Tracy see this, and understood that they should kill Ed if they want to kill the pumpkin. Ed seems to change into the pumpkin, but he controls himself. He then tries to kill himself to save them. When he shoots himself, the pumpkin also falls down. Ed seems still alive, so the pumpkin again rises and grabs Bunt. Ed tells Tracy to kill him if he wants to survive. Tracy shoots Ed, and the pumpkin starts to burn because Ed was dead. In the end, we see the witch brings a corpse to bury in the same place where Ed has brought the pumpkin. This was Ed's dead body she buries. And the movie ends. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.